Watch Talk Heathen live Sundays at 1 p.m. Central. Visit tiny.cc/YTTH and call into the show at 512-991-9242 or connect to the show online at tiny.cc/callth.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Truth Wanted. I am your host, Objectively Dan. This is the live in-studio call-in show that happens every single week, Fridays at 7 p.m. Central Time, where we talk to you about what you believe and why. If you'd like to call us, you can do that. It's 512-991-9242, or you can go on your computer at tiny.cc/calltw to call into the show. Truth Wanted is a product of the Atheist Community of Austin, a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to the promotion of atheism, critical thinking, secular humanism, and the separation of religion and government. I always have a very special guest. This week is no different. It's Kelley Laughlin, everybody. Kelley.
Thanks, Dan.
Welcome
for calling
to the show.
me special.
Yeah, you are special.
Oh, thank you.
So let me tell you guys something about Kelley here. Kelley came all the way from Michigan for tonight's show.
I did.
And is hanging out with me this week. And we're also going to be hosting Talk Heathen together on Sunday, so look forward to that. Kelley, how you doing?
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited that you're here. Before we keep going with tonight's show, Truth Wanted, we're always trying to do new, interesting ideas. We have another thing that we are trying, okay? And I'm going to remind you guys at the end of the show, but you should do this now. I want to do a new segment. Okay, I want to try to do a new segment. This is going to be called We Want the Truth, or WWTT, right? WWTT, that's the work in progress title. But each week, what we want to do is we want to ask you guys a question, and we want to have you answer in the comments section, not in the live chat. Please answer in the comments section of the video after it's posted. And we want to pick our favorite 3 responses and read them the next week. So just a way for us to be more engaged with you guys, hear your funny thoughts on what you have to say, and just kind of keep the conversation going. But this week should be a fun one. The question that we have in mind for this week is, in one sentence, what is the weirdest conspiracy theory you have ever heard? Okay, so if you're listening to this and this video is already posted, comment below, and you might be able to have your comment read by myself or the other host, whoever's hosting next week on the show. So look forward to that. Anyway, Kelley Laughlin, you are here with me in studio. Kelley, what's up, man?
Not much. I'm really happy to be here. I'm kind of still surprised that I'm here, you know?
Listen, I love Kelley. He's modest, okay? Let me, again, tell you some more about Kelley. So last year, in my apartment, I was having some internet issues, right, doing the show. And it was, we worked it out. But basically, we came up with this policy and said, okay, we have to have backup hosts for all of our shows, right? So pretty much every show that you watch, there's at least one host in the background that's waiting to kind of fill in to see in case something like that happens again. And Kelley has been, like, pretty much our dedicated backup host for Truth Wanted. So really, Kelley, you've been a part of a lot of Truth Wanted episodes, just not on camera.
Just not yet. Yeah. I've always been behind the
You've
camera.
always been just waiting behind the scenes to jump in case I drop out or the guest drops out.
And we've got such a great crew that it's never happened.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Crew is wonderful. Crew is great. If anything happens, there's a 99% chance it's probably my fault. Okay. So just keep that in mind in case you guys ever complain about what's going on. But Kelley, so we do this thing sometimes called Dan's Deep Dives, right? Where I try to go into a topic. But Kelley, I assigned you a deep dive to this week. And actually, you picked out the topic, but I was like, Kelley, I want you to do a deep dive.
So I did, and I picked out the topic of the Book of Urantia. And if you've never heard about it, I'm going to tell you a little bit.
Yes.
I have not made it a secret that I used to follow the Grateful Dead, and I had found out that Jerry Garcia kept the Book of Urantia with him. So I got interested in it, and when Dan gave me the idea, talked to me about the idea of me doing the deep dive, I wanted to go with that because I thought it was something really crazy.
Yeah.
It's a book that's it's a spiritual book.
Right.
It was supposedly started in 1923. It wasn't made public until 1925. It is supposedly the writings of an anonymous Chicago businessman who was in a trance and wrote all these metaphysical treatises while in the trance.
Well, that's my favorite genre of book.
Yeah, trance books.
Books written by Chicago businessmen in the state of trance is what I was really referring to. But yeah, like that's instant bestseller.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So okay.
So there was several hundred papers that were done, and it described an omni-god. And the omni-God actually existed on 3 levels, believe it or not.
Yeah.
The Father, Son, and the Spirit. Sounding familiar?
So this is the question. Is that plagiarism? Because does the Bible have copyright laws on it? I mean, it does, but it's God's book.
I'm pretty sure that the copyright has expired on that, and we're going to talk about that a little bit with the Book of Urantia.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm getting ahead of the house.
That's okay.
Tell me some more, Kelley.
But one of the big differences with Urantia and Christianity is that the Book of Urantia says there's what they call thought adjusters.
Okay.
Right, that are in your head, right? And they are the mark of God within you.
Okay.
And they supposedly will lead you to God, right? And they teach you to have faith. It's a very fideistic religion. I guess you can call it a religion, but it puts faith above logic, and it thinks that faith is better than logic. So that's kind of a weird red flag to me to begin with. And this thought adjuster teaches you to have faith in God. And when you're sinning, you're actually denying that faith adjuster. So when you fuse your thought completely with that faith adjuster, that's when you gain eternal life. And it usually happens in the afterlife, so you can never see it happen here.
Okay.
Right?
So answer me. Okay, so Jerry Garcia believes in this, and you said Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix had a book of this.
Jimi Hendrix was a Urantia believer.
So what's going on? Are there Urantia book evangelists out here, or
there have been.
Okay,
and it's gotten actually a lot bigger in the last decade or so. Sales have increased by about 3 times for the Book of Urantia.
Okay.
So, and part of that is because in 1996, the copyright expired on the book, and other people were able to start producing it, and so more and more copies got put out there, and of course, you get more copies out there, more are going to be bought. So
So this anonymous book is put out into the public, and a bunch of people start following it. Sounds familiar.
Yeah, right,
Sounds a little familiar. No parallels to the Christian religion whatsoever.
Oh no, there's actually quite a few parallels. Quite a few. Obviously, the Trinity was a big reference.
Yeah.
They actually do believe in Jesus, but one of the differences is they believe that Jesus is like a holy son, and he's only one of 700,000 incarnations. Of the Holy Son.
So so a lot of facts being spit in this book. Do they say why you should believe any of this?
Well, of course, because you want to be one with the God, right? With this triple omni God, right?
Yeah.
But other than that, no, not really.
So there's no we found this secret archaeological evidence or nothing like that?
No, there's nothing like that. It all came out of this guy's trances. And we don't know who this guy was, although there's been some conjecture, but we still don't know who he was.
That's so crazy. So there's no church behind this or anything? There's no organization?
There is a Urantia organization, and since the copyright expired, there has two more have started. Getting a little tongue-tied there.
Yeah, okay.
So there are now 3 Urantia organizations, but only one of them still claims to be the original and the real Urantia.
So, like, what do you do in a Urantia organization? You go to church, you sing songs?
No, you basically just study the book.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much else to it.
So it's like a dedicated lifelong book club.
Yeah, and it gives you the whole guideline to live your life, to become a better person and one with God, supposedly. So
Okay, so that's the goal of the Book of Urantia is to get one with God.
yeah, to become eternal, have eternal life with God.
Do you get baptized in it or anything?
No, but one thing that can happen to you is if you do become one with God while you're alive, you will ascend to heaven in a fiery chariot, and that's what happened to Elijah from the Old Testament.
That's like I've always said this. When my career counselor was like, what do you want to do in life? I want to go to heaven in a fiery chariot. Like, that speaks to me. I like that.
I just want a fiery chariot.
Fiery chariot. What do you do? Like, if it's fiery, does that mean I can't stand on it? Or do I wear, like, fireproof armor?
I think you're safe because it's a magic thing. So
It's a okay.
Otherwise, it wouldn't stay on fire if it wasn't magic.
I'm not a Urantialist.
Urantiist?
What do you say? Urantiist?
I don't know. I think
Okay.
you're just a follower of Urantia.
Okay, interesting. What else? Any other facts that you found? I know you did a lot of research on this.
It's one of the things. There's been a lot of kickback on Urantia because it has a lot of inaccuracies in it. It has a wildly scientific inaccuracies, lots of them. They were inaccurate about the birth of the solar system. They were inaccurate about the distance to Andromeda. They thought that we had sudden evolution from one single mutation.
Oh.
And one of the interesting things is in the 1920s and the 1930s, these were all mainstream scientific ideas
Yeah.
that have been tossed aside since then. So that kind of leads me to believe that maybe this really isn't the word of God, that this was the word of somebody who was living in the 1920s.
Kelley, no. Come on, dude.
Yeah.
Dude,
I know, isn't that crazy?
That's got God's fingerprints written all over it.
I wrote, in 1992, a guy named Matthew Block, and he was actually a follower of Urantia, and he started doing some research, and he found passages from the book of Urantia that had been published in publications before Urantia.
Oh, so they took from more than just the Bible. Then.
Right, and he claims that there was 15 different publications at that time, and now he claims that there's over 125 sources that were used for the book of Urantia.
Wow, and he was a follower himself.
And he was a follower.
And he was like, wait, that's awesome. He was like, I believe all this, but hold on now.
But let me start checking.
Let's check these sources here. And is he still a believer? Do you know? I guess.
I don't know, but I would imagine that he's not.
I would imagine not. You never know. That's interesting. Wow, that's a lot of interesting facts there. Did you have other stuff you want to say on it?
I did, because I had some other thoughts. 1923. If anybody has ever heard of Edgar Casey, his nickname was the Sleeping Prophet, and he was basically doing the same thing again, starting in 1923.
Yeah, he was like a medium.
Yes.
Right. Yeah,
yes.
and he was
he was going into these trances, and he was writing he was talking, and people were writing down all this metaphysical stuff that he was saying.
Right.
And a lot of it is very similar. It's not exactly the same, but a lot of it is very similar. Edgar was really steeped in Christianity himself. And I can't help but wondering if this is the early 1920s, the spiritualist movement is dying off now with the help of Harry Houdini and other people who are exposing it.
Yeah.
And this seems like a way to replace that spiritualist movement kind of with the same ideas, except now we're not talking to dead people, we're talking to God instead. So they were kind of Christianizing the whole spiritualist movement in a way.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. Because is the Urantiist book, would you say it's Christian in nature? Like, is it theologically more Christian than anything else, or is it kind of its own thing?
That's a good question. And it is, I would say that at least 3/4 of it is very Christian. But you got that little quarter that's not. So there is like a lot of different things about it. Like I talked about, they thought that there was 700,000 incarnations of Jesus that have already lived, right?
Right.
They also didn't believe that Christ was born of a virgin, and they don't believe he walked on water. But they do believe he raised Lazarus from the dead.
That's very specific.
Yeah, right.
Wait, why would they? Why?
I never could figure out why they would believe in some miracles and not others.
That's really weird.
Right?
Look, listen. We all know a lot of people who believe in the Bible. Okay, they pick and choose, but like that's very explicit, and you're picking and choosing. I don't know.
Right.
That's very interesting.
And probably the biggest difference between Urantia and Christianity is the Urantians don't believe that Christ died for our sins.
Oh.
That there was no redemption for the original sin there.
Really?
It was, well, again, he was the 700,000th incarnation. So
Okay.
he just died and he'll be back again.
Wait, what's the point of him dying then?
Well, there's a lot of Seventh-day Adventistism
Okay, interesting.
involved in it too. And a couple of the things that were crossovers, and one is soul sleeping. The Seventh-day Adventists believe that your soul can go to sleep.
Yes, actually, okay. You said soul sleeping, and I was like, I don't know if I've heard that, but I have heard that. That's the idea that when you die, your soul's like asleep, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
and
okay.
then you'll wake up for the end times.
For the end times,
And
yes,
so
okay.
so this is what I believe that they think that the divine son is done. He's just gone to sleep for a while until he wakes back up to teach us some more.
What is it about the Seventh-day Adventists that have the weirdest offshoots? Like David Koresh was a Seventh-day Adventist.
Right.
Like there's a lot of like, what's going on
One of
there?
your fellow Wacoans.
I know. Don't get me started on that. Listen. I'm in Austin now. Okay, the vibe's different. But look, okay, so that's a lot. I knew a little bit about the Book of Urantia. Like I've read the Wikipedia article once, and I was like, oh, that's weird. But you gave me some insight I didn't know. Like I didn't realize like Jimi Hendrix and Jerry Garcia. And who else? Like a bunch of
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yes, and Kerry Livgren, who was the front man of the band Kansas.
So the Book of Urantia was basically Scientology before like Scientology was
Kind of in a
was
way, but
kicking
only
off.
for rock musicians.
Yeah. Man, that's really weird. Well, Kelley, thanks so much for the deep dive.
Oh,
on
thanks
that.
for letting me do that.
Any
That was
last
so
minute?
fun.
Any other stuff you want to throw out before we move on about the Book of Urantia?
Read it, but don't believe it.
Okay.
Because it is kind of fun. Actually, a lot of people read it considering it as science fiction, and it kind of can be a fun book if you read it that way.
I guess you could say the same with L. Ron Hubbard's works, but
sure.
Yeah, interesting parallels there. Well, if you believe in the Book of Urantia and you want to talk to us about it, you certainly can do that. We're about to take calls in just a second, so we got a few open lines here so we can talk to you again. Number is going to be on screen if you're watching this. You can also click that link, that tiny.cc link, tiny.cc/calltw. You can call in through your computer, and we'd love to talk to you. But before we get to calls, Kelley, we have to thank the patron of the week, because every single week we always want to thank our patrons. Thank you to everybody who donates on Patreon. All of you guys rock. We, of course, want to give a special shout out at least to one person every week. And this week's patron of the week is going to be Mick Dishrag. Thank you so much, Mick Dishrag, for donating on Patreon. And of course, thank you to everybody that donates on that Patreon. You guys rock. So with that out of the way, Kelley, I am ready to jump right in. You ready to jump right in?
I totally am ready to jump right in. Looking forward to it.
Okay, cool. We got a couple different people. We got Dylan, who's calling in from Georgia. Dylan, you are live on Truth Wanted. What's going on?
Oh, man. Big fan, Kelley. Oh, my God. It's great to hang out with you in Discord.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's a great community.
Thank you.
Awesome. What do you want to talk to us about today, Dylan?
Oh, shit. I just wanted to talk to some men, okay, because some shit's going down right now. I was on Grindr, like the gay Tinder, and I was looking for a boyfriend, and then suddenly there was a transgender man that was assigned female at birth that just matched with me.
Okay.
And it was just immediate, and she's coming over. She's going to be here in like 10 minutes.
Dylan, I don't.
And I can't. I'm like,
What this? I don't know if you know this. This is not secular sexuality. Okay, this is Truth Wanted. Look, if you want my take,
it's always Thursday.
I mean,
somewhere.
It's always Thursday somewhere. But I mean, I'll give you my take. I know I have the vest on today and the glasses. I give off a metrosexual vibe. I am straight. Okay, so I can't help you on the grinder department. Like in general, that dynamic is different. Okay, I don't know. I mean, good luck. Have fun. Be confident. Well, what were you looking for, Dylan? What did you need?
I just wanted someone to pinch me and wake me up.
I'll give you a virtual pinch. There you go, Dylan.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh my God. So,
you sound pretty happy about it. Like you sound excited.
So, okay, let's forget about me.
All right.
There's listeners, and this is Truth Wanted.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask Dan. I wasn't thinking about this, but I'm improvising right now. Dan, you were religious for a long time. What was that like? That's my question.
Okay. That was not the question that you asked with the call scruters, but you know what? I will allow it for this time because it sounds like you're not sure what you want to say to this, Dylan. I'll answer this. Look, I mean, that experience, right? Obviously, I've talked about it in a lot of different places, but I mean, it was like what anybody else that's ever been a Christian was like for the most part, right? I wasn't super fundamentalist, but I was definitely in a bubble, right? I think while it did give me a sense of community, it did give me a sense of purpose. Those things also prevented me from viewing the world as a whole. I didn't really get to experience fully a lot of things that other people my age got to experience because I was restricted in some sense and thought that I had a certain path for me. I really wanted to work in Christian nonprofits, and now I'm doing volunteer work for the atheist community of Austin, which is hilarious. But also, like, you know, having that change meant having to change my priorities and change my sense of values, right? So, like you know, when I had my beliefs, I really did have blinders on. I wasn't open to the LGBT community, for example. I was very bigoted. I was transphobic. I was homophobic. And I wasn't like actively protesting on the street or anything, but you don't have to be homophobic or transphobic. You can have, you know, beliefs internally that will navigate or guide your behavior and determine who you hang out with and what you think is acceptable and what you're willing to support. And so that is something I deeply regret and I wish I didn't do. I also worked a lot with kids ministry, and that's something I also think about because I worked with kids and people told me that I was a good role model for kids. And it's like, what kind of precedent was I setting for those kids by telling them that the beliefs that I held were ultimately good ones when I don't think that they're good anymore? So that's stuff that I wrestle with, and thankfully I have an opportunity like hosting this program to sort of rectify that past. I mean, again, I wasn't like protesting in the streets. I wasn't preaching hate stuff, but like you don't have to be a part of the problem, right? And like I fully believe that. So I'd rather try to have those conversations and talk with folks who are maybe deconstructing some of those ideas and give them a platform to do it. That I wish I had doing that because it was pretty difficult. And also, Dylan, again, just be yourself, okay? Have fun. It sounds like you're gonna have a good time. So you know, just do what you gotta do. Anyway, Kelley.
Yeah, be chill, man. Enjoy yourself, right? Yeah.
Dylan, I have no idea why you called tonight to ask me about that, but that is really fucking funny.
That's awesome.
Say,
I was just hanging out with Kelley. It was because Kelley was hosting.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that, man. I really do. You have no idea how much I appreciate you calling in, Dylan.
That is really funny. God, that's so funny. Dylan, do you have anything else you want to ask about, or are you good, my friend?
Do you guys want to go on modern day debate?
Modern day debates? I mean, I don't know. I'm often featured on other people's shows and stuff. You know, anybody that wants to maybe get me on other shows, you can always email the show.
Yeah.
But you know, that's a good way to keep in touch with you there. But Dylan, if that's all you want to talk about, I think we'll go ahead and let you go, so we could talk with some other folks. But I do appreciate the support, and I'm sure Kelley.
Yeah, thanks, Dylan. Yeah, I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much, Dylan.
Yeah, have a good night and enjoy yourself. Don't watch this. Go get ready for your date, Dylan. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, go have fun.
I saw the call. The screener was like, wanted to ask about hookups. I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know what that means. That looks interesting. I did not know I was going to be giving dating advice. So that's
And honestly, he's calling me is like the wrong person to call for dating advice. Honestly,
I'm flattered. Again, I have no experience in gay relationships. I assume the dynamic is different than heterosexual. I don't know.
I wouldn't assume it's that much different.
Maybe, I don't know. I've never been in it. I never
have either.
I've never dated another man. I don't know what it's like.
I haven't either, but I just assume it's pretty much the same.
I guess so. You just got to treat people with respect and have a good time, I guess.
You're both, you're all humans.
I just think it's funny that, I don't know. Just a quick advertisement. Thursday nights, we have Secular Sexuality, where you can ask great questions about your love life and other things, hosted by Christy Powell, who does a great job. So you should go watch that show. When you're not watching this one, of course. What a way to open the show. That's a first for me. That's a first, I gotta say. But before we move on to the next caller, Kelley,
maybe we need to start a dating advice show.
What? Yeah, you and me?
Yeah, you and me.
What would we call it, Kelley? Dan and Kelley's dating hour. Is it like the red pill, but it's like something else? It could be like the green pill or something.
We'll work on it after the show.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, we'll workshop this later. I got quick announcements I want to get across to you guys real quick. If you want to support the show, of course, I already mentioned the Patreon. You should definitely check that out. You can get your name shouted on the show. We're working on possibly some other stuff in the future as well. You can also support the show by becoming a member. So that is also really cool. You get emojis in the chat, and your name also gets highlighted in the chat. And you can do that all for as little as 99 cents a month, which I know the economy, not super great. 99 cents? I mean...
What the fuck? It's only a buck.
It's only a buck. What the fuck? It's only a buck. I like that. What the fuck? It's only a buck. So that's one way you can support us. But even if you think, Dan, 99 cents, no. I'm not even going to give you 99 cents. Well, you know what? That's okay. How about free? You can support us for free. Well, it's not quite free, but it's kind of free. Let me explain. If you shop on Amazon.com, you can support the ACA if you visit tiny.cc/AmazonSmileACA, and you can designate the Atheist Community of Austin as your selected charity, and Amazon will donate a portion of their profit directly to the ACA. So if you're already buying stuff on Amazon and you want to get that done, you can do it. Now, they are getting rid of...
They are getting rid of the Smile program.
They are getting rid of the Smile program. I don't know when that's going to be gone. I'm sure the crew will let me know so that I don't announce it every time. But, consider doing that pretty soon, I guess, if you're considering making an Amazon purchase. That is something to think about. Oh, and one more thing as well. Let's get this out of the way. We do have a fundraiser that's on the channel. If you see, our goal for tonight is $420. So
what does that number mean? Just a random number?
It's just a random number. Yeah, I don't think it has any historical, socio-political...
You didn't make that number because of my long hair, did you?
No, Kelley, no. Come on, dude. No, of course not. Anyway, you are a Grateful Dead fan, but it's not because of that. But anyway, the goal is $420. So if you help donate, it helps perpetuate the mission of the ACA, and 100% of that money goes directly to the ACA. It doesn't go to YouTube. So if you want to click that and you're watching this, that would be spectacular. Okay, so we got some of that stuff out of the way, Kelley. I think we should go back to the calls. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. Okay, we have a couple of people who want to talk to... Oh, this is a good one. Let's do this. This is perfect for you, Kelley. We have Helen calling in from Florida. Helen, you're live on Truth Wanted. You know this? You know Helen?
I know Helen. Hi.
How come you know all these callers tonight, Kelley? What the heck? Hello, Helen. You're live. How's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing good.
I'm doing great, Helen. How are you? You may know Helen. She has been on. She's been on Secular Sexuality and on nonprofits. Helen Green.
Oh, Helen Green. Okay, yeah. So Helen, you want to talk about? You want to consult Kelley's expertise. For those of you who don't know, Kelley is a rock shop owner. He's a rock enthusiast. He's written about rocks. Mm-hmm. And you rock, Kelley. You're a rock guy.
Well, thanks.
So you want to ask about crystals and, quote, woo-woo shit. Is that right, Helen?
Oh, goodness.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, what do you want to know?
Where should we start?
So Kelley and I have gotten into this conversation before because I was into woo-woo shit and he was into woo-woo shit. So I wanted him to talk a little bit more about how he got into the woo-woo stuff and especially Did you find any truth in anything people were selling you back then?
Oh yeah, I totally found truth in it, and I'm going to have a hard time admitting this, but I kind of got into the belief because of a woman. So
Damn, dude.
yeah, I know.
It's the crystal mommies.
It's
It's the crystal mommies, dude. They're all over TikTok. I know what you mean.
And even worse than that, I married her, so it got even, it really got thick after a while. But as we were experimenting, or as I was experimenting with friends who were having these ailments and giving them stones that that were supposed to cure these ailments that they had, and nobody was getting better. And that's when I started realizing maybe there's really not much to this. But I totally got into it. I got into it because I wanted to believe it. I really wanted it to be real. And what I ended up doing, and a lot of people get indoctrinated into like theist beliefs when they're children because they're just exposed to it and overexposed to it. And I indoctrinated myself because I wanted to believe it. And it was actually a little bit harder for me to get out of it because I put myself there. And I don't know if you experienced the same thing, Helen, but I had a harder time getting out of woo than I did out of Christianity.
Interesting. Helen, what do you think? Go ahead.
Yeah, that was the same for me. It is harder because, like I always say, like the religion is the easy part to leave behind. Is the magical thinking that takes longer. And you, like with the woo-woo stuff, you feel like you're choosing something, and it feels like it's more active. But it's just you replace one set of silly rules for another set of silly rules.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
that's kind of the way I look at it.
I had a dad who was really into geology when I was younger, and so I got to learn a lot about rocks and a lot about the history and stuff. And I'm thankful for that because, like, I could see another way where I could like look at these pretty rocks and be like, well, there must be something special about it. I mean, it's shiny looking,
Right. And there was a few books that came out. A couple of books came out in the late '80s, early '90s. The Tao of Physics and the Dancing Walu Masters. And they were trying to reconcile modern quantum physics with Eastern mysticism. Okay. And they did a really good job of it, right? I mean, it was all bullshit, right?
Wait, so why did they do a good job of it?
Because they made it sound reasonable, right?
Yeah.
And logical and rational.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And here I am, I'm a budding young person. I really want to learn more about science, and I'm reading this. I don't really understand quantum physics, and all of a sudden I'm really believing this as if it was real, and that really helped draw me in too because I really thought I was being scientific about it.
Wow. So those are the books that talk about like the lattices of the crystal structures have.
Well, they talk about things like thought being able to manipulate the world around you.
Okay.
Because of the quantum nature of
geometry and that's
sacred geometry. There you go. Yep.
So it's just like The Secret, except for rocks.
Yeah.
It always goes back to The Secret. I don't know what it is.
It's not so much about rocks. It was just the idea, and then the rocks kind of. It was the idea that you could manipulate things with your mind. And then a lot of people had the idea that you could use these crystals to amplify this manipulation.
Oh, wow. Man, if I could do that, that would be rad.
That's why I wanted it to be true. Wouldn't that be cool if you could actually manipulate the world just with a crystal? Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be cool.
That's even better than prayer.
So, Helen, you were a woo-woo believer, but now you're not anymore. Is that right? Is that how you would describe yourself?
Yeah. I was in paganism for 13 years, and I was actually a high priestess in paganism at the time. So, yeah.
So, man.
Yeah, and I've been out of religion for like 4 or 5 years now.
Did you want to admit on the air that you were high?
What? Kelley, what are you saying, man? Why are you calling people out like this, dude? Come on.
I was just making sure. She's the one that said it.
Damn. First of all, if I was high and you said that to me while I was talking to you, that would freak me out. I'd be like, what are you doing? You're exposing me on the internet.
But he's reading my mind.
Helen and I are good friends. So.
I get that. I get that, Johnny. But so you, for 13 years, that's a long time. Can you tell me like a little bit about how you kind of deconstructed those beliefs?
It was really interesting because I don't know what happened, because I was never like when I got into paganism, that was kind of the beginning of the deconstruction, because I actually, and this is during that time too, I went to college and started studying psychology. So I was still trying to hold on to this idea that even though I had left religion, that there was something in like universal energy or a collective unconsciousness, we're all connected to you, or some other woo-woo thing I was reading about at the time. And I think what happened is that as I got older and my life became more stable and I started becoming more skeptical, I started watching more scientific and skeptical content online. My husband's always been more scientifically minded than me. And I just started slowly like asking myself, I'm like, do I have justification to believe this anymore? And then once I realized how the human brain will trick itself and how indoctrination works and how magical thinking works, after that, I was like, oh, fuck. I'm like, I've been doing this to myself my whole life. And now I've just learned to kind of question myself more, and be more skeptical, which is something I thought I had learned growing up with my dad being a very science-minded person, but I didn't realize because of that indoctrination in the church, that even though it wasn't part of the household on a regular basis, how much that did affect my thinking and wanting, something more. It's a really strange journey when I look back on it now.
When you say indoctrination in the church, which church are you referring to? You talking about the Christian church or the?
I was raised Catholic.
Okay. So you think your Catholic upbringing actually influenced your paganism in the sense that it influenced your religious thinking?
Oh yeah, because also too, like a lot of elements from the Catholic Church come from old paganism beliefs in Rome and other sort of and the Greeks and that European culture at the time, and so a lot if you go to Mass, it's a lot of really interesting parallels with incense and water and calling the spirits and all this sort of stuff. That is a very easy jump into paganism, and you're just replacing with different deities and different rules. That the whole pageantry is very attractive, especially to people that have been in religions and then they move to paganism. They'll take that need for performance and drama with them.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me,
it does.
Because I didn't grow up Catholic, but there is a focus in Catholicism on the aesthetic of the worship tradition, right? Like Mass is supposed to go a certain way. There's people playing roles, and there's like this, this ongoing tradition that
uniforms?
happens. Yeah, there's uniforms. There's a clear hierarchy, like what's supposed to be going on. I mean, from what I see from paganism and from the folks I know that are into that, I mean, they are also similarly into the aesthetic of it. I think that's what draws a lot, if not the theology of it, then the aesthetic of
I went to some really cool pagan rituals during my pagan phase.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. But I mean, that's so funny because again, like, what does Christianity do? It says, oh, you don't want to be a pagan. Like, what if not, but to exterminate pagans for most of history, right? Is kind of been the goal, and then to have that influence of Christianity like inform your paganism is very interesting to me. But it totally makes sense.
It's really hard to abolish paganism because pagans throw better parties.
Yeah. You know what? I don't disagree with that. That's very true. Well, Helen, thanks so much for sharing your story with me a little bit there, because that's really interesting. Anything else you want to add before we move on?
Thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to call and support Kelley and let him know that I love him. And he was one of my first friends at the ACD, and if it wasn't for him and all of the warmth and generosity showed me, I probably wouldn't have got involved with the ACA. So, in RFR. So, I just wanted to show my appreciation for my friend.
I love you too, Helen.
Oh, that's so nice. Helen, thanks so much for calling in, and thank you for showing your support for Kelley. And you're right. Kelley is a great volunteer for the Atheist Community of Austin. He does a lot of stuff behind the scenes. He also does some stuff on the Atheist Community of Austin Discord, ACD, which is a fan-run Discord server. which we try to do some after show stuff. We're going to hopefully do some more of in the future. But yeah, thanks for your help, Kelley. I'm glad you're here with me tonight.
Thanks for letting me help.
Of course.
Thanks everybody for letting me help.
No, thank you. We got another call that we'll take in just a second here, but again, I just want to remind some folks we have open lines, so we want to take some more calls, whether it's about Christianity, whether it's about quote woo-woo shit, which is great. Whatever
the book
you
of
want,
Urantia?
or Book of Urantia. If we talk to somebody that actively believes in the Book of Urantia, I will have said I've seen everything on this show.
I would love to talk to somebody.
That would be rad. I'm just saying that would be rad. But before we take our next caller, I just want to let you guys know that, of course, Truth Wanted, we are doing these in studio shows again. As you know, we're going to try to keep doing these last Friday of the month. So check that out. And also, I'm doing these a little bit out of order here. Sorry, crew. If you look at on Sunday, I will be here again with Kelley. We'll be hosting Talk Heathen together. And then Atheist Experience is going to be with Jamie Boone and Jim Barrows. So check that out. Doors will open for Talk Heathen at 12. And we'll be open for the rest of the day. That's all free, just like tonight. You can see in the opening of the show, we got some folks coming in. So we want to see more people. We want to see this building filled up. And we just kind of hang out and have a good time. So definitely look into that. Also, you'll see that our Truth Wanted store is up and running again. We are keeping up with the tradition now of having a T-shirt of the month. This is one that I'm partial to because I came up with the concept. Our great executive producer, Greg James, designed it here. So check it out. It's visible on the screen there. I was abducted and all I got was this T-shirt. It's classic. It's great. It's good. It's comedy, pure comedy, the highest form of comedy, honestly. Let's be real.
Oh, yeah. Truth Wanted comedy.
Truth Wanted comedy, which is camp in its purest form. But look, check out that store. Even if you're not in the shirts, we have mugs, we've got hoodies, we've got, I think, phone cases still. I think we got some in there. I don't know about that one, but we got a bunch of stuff in there. Tote bags. We got stuff in there. So check it out if you want to support the show. And if you do, please tag me on Twitter. If you buy stuff, I would love to see that personally. That's an ask for me. Okay, at ObjectivelyDan. So one more thing before we get to our promo video here, we have an audio-only version of the show that you can listen to. You go to tiny.cc/AEN podcast for that. It's your one-stop shop for all of our shows in audio form, so check that out. You can listen to Truth Wanted. You can also listen to our other shows like Secular Sexuality or Talk Heathen or Atheist Experience or nonprofits, right, Kelley?
Yes, definitely listen to nonprofits and definitely listen to Secular Sexuality too. That's like one of the hidden gems of the ACA.
Yeah, for sure. So check all that stuff out. And now finally, Kelley, it's time for one of my favorite parts of the show. We have our promo video, and we're going to play it for you now. Check it out.
Are you aware that poly people aren't necessarily about the sex? Yeah, a lot of us are. But, we're not necessarily
Which is valid.
about
Sex is nice. I like sex,
So
for
good.
goodness sakes.
We're just two dudes on the internet, and anything that we've said today is just the opinion of two dudes of the internet, not two physicians or two professional philosophers or two anything really. I mean, just call-in show hosts, which is the lowest credibility on the credibility ladder.
We can't prove we're not XXX in this situation, living in a simulation. We can't prove that a deity does not exist. That doesn't mean that I go around bathing in Pascal's wager going, oh look, I can't prove it doesn't exist.
That's a dingleberry. You know what a dingleberry is, right? Tell you what, go to Urban Dictionary after this program is done, and then come back to me, and you see what happens. Okay?
Should I use my work computer?
Yeah, definitely.
Sounds like you want to talk about morality and how it does not apply to God because he's the ultimate being.
Hello, I even have biblical evidence for this.
Oh, that's gonna mean a lot to us. Oh man,
Yeah.
Ben, did you hear this? He has biblical evidence. Get ready to be
man.
pummeled into submission.
And we are back in the studio here. It's me, Objectively Dan, with Kelley Laughlin, and we got some more calls that we should take. You ready to talk to some more
I'm
folks?
totally ready.
Okay, let's do it. We have Virtue, who is calling in from New York. Virtue, you are live on Truth Wanted. What's up?
Hello, Dan and Kelly. Wonderful time. Honored to be on your show.
Well, thank you
for
so
having
much.
me.
Thank you. Well, we're glad to have you. So, what did you want to talk to us about today? I see you think you have good evidence for God's existence. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. Well,
First, I'd like to talk to you about a little about what I believe and why, and then maybe get through some definitions of evidence and proof, and then get into that from there.
Well, Virtue, that is the premise of the show.
that's awesome,
I'm so glad that you do it. So let's dive into it.
Okay. Well, I'm a universalist, so I think eventually everyone does go to heaven. I think hell is ultimately a metaphor. I believe in pretty much all of the gods. I think they're pretty much fallen angelic beings that Lucifer took with him in the fall, and I think they're just masquerading as demigods, and they're just fallen angelic beings.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is
interesting. And you qualify that under the Universalist label. I'm assuming by heaven you mean the Judeo-Christian traditional concept of heaven as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm with you so far. So that's cool. Like, did you have specific evidence for that belief that you just gave, or did you want to outline some more stuff, or
Well, first let's get into the idea. Well, let's get into the topic of the definitions between evidence and proof. Okay. And should I go first? Should I share my definitions of evidence and proof, or do you guys want to share yours?
Well, I mean, that's a good thing. Good thing to talk about, right? Talking about evidence and proof. We usually use the word evidence on this program, right? We typically avoid the word proof for a couple of reasons. One, proof, in my mind, is usually limited to the realm of mathematics. That's really one of the only ways you can have proof for things. We can have evidence for things, like me looking out into the distance and seeing that there's a horizontal line in the distance. Well, that's evidence to me that the Earth is flat, right? It doesn't mean that's good evidence, but it is evidence. Like I fully support this idea that there can be evidence towards a belief. How we measure the quality of that evidence, I mean, that's philosophy, right? That's how you figure that out. But I mean, like, evidence for us, I think, at least I would say, Kelly, is ideas or things, probably, not arguments necessarily, but an observable phenomenon that give us credence towards an idea. And observable doesn't have to mean like with your eyes and ears either. Just things that you can sort of empirically look at. That's what I think of. I'm not, in that sense, I'm not a rationalist, right? I don't know if you can understand things purely through reason. I tend to lean towards empiricism, but again, that's messy, right? Like, how do you figure out the difference between the two all the time? So that's how I would put that out there. Okay, how's that sound, Virtue?
That sounds acceptable. Okay, and you agree with Dan, Kelly?
Sure. I always thought that good proof of a God would be unambiguous empirical truth.
Yeah,
that it would be the same for everybody, and everybody would be able to see it easily.
Yeah, or reasonably, right?
Yes.
Be able to reasonably interpret the evidence. I'd say, I think I'd agree with that too.
Sure.
So there you go, Virtue. That's our thoughts on that.
Now, my thoughts on evidence versus proof is that evidence is something that points the way to a truth claim. Mm-hmm. It's the path to truth. It might not necessarily be considered ultimate proof of that truth claim, although evidence is something that leads you to guide on to the truth claim, and on that path, it's something that pushes you along to seek the proof for the truth claim that the evidence is pushing you to or pointing you to. You know what I mean?
I think I can get mostly on board with that. Mm-hmm. Like evidence being evidence should give you reasons to believe something, right? I think that's what good evidence does, right? So, and if you're in your metaphor, you're talking about it's a way that gets you to a path. I think I can vibe with that.
I can, but I have other problems with that too.
Okay,
because,
what do you think?
Because we can rationalize a lot of things that aren't true.
We can rationalize a lot of things that aren't true.
And we may think they are evidence when they're not.
Yeah, that's
But that's my
totally
only
true.
that's my only problem with what you said. That's it.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
That's fair, I think. Yeah.
I think that's a fair saying. Now, I don't think Kelley that you will. I think you'll find my evidentiary statements about that my truth claims ultimately are compelling, because I've never heard these arguments and statements before.
Oh, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
New.
Well, we're ready. We're ready. Okay. I think we established some groundwork. We're on a good course so far. So let's hear it, Virtue. We're at the punch now, right? So
proof, evidence for God, and proof. I'd like to crunch. Ultimately, one day I'd like to crunch the numbers on this, because I think crunching the numbers is a necessity always.
Oh boy.
Now,
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I got to prepare. Whatever. Listen, Virtue, you got to understand, when somebody says they're going to bring numbers in, okay, most of the time on this show, it's a bad time. I'm not going to lie. It's usually not good.
No, I don't.
Okay. All right.
I totally know. I get it. Trust me. I know. I've seen this show before. I know.
I get you. I'm giving you a chance here, Virtue. Let's hear it.
Proof and true evidence of God with acronyms. And I'm going to give you 4, okay?
Okay.
What?
The word God, the word gold, the word golf, and the word hope.
Okay. I got to see where we're going with this. I have to.
What is happening?
No, let's let him go. I got to see where this is going.
Where are we going? What's going on? Wait, what? You have acronyms? And that, what the... Okay, just please explain. Please explain. What?
Just want to give the acronyms. Do you want to give the acronyms and just hear it?
Yeah, what are the acronyms? What does God stand for?
Okay. God, our good old dad, who has a heart of gold, which also stands for good old loving father, or good old loving dad, who has a heart of heart of gold, good old loving father, who has a heart of gold, good old loving dad, heart of gold, good old loving dad, gold, gave us the good old game of golf. Our good old loving father gave us the good old game of golf.
Oh, Virtue.
Good old loving father.
Oh, Virtue. You're trolling me today. You're trolling me.
No, this is not a troll. I swear to you.
I was with you until you came up with the game of golf.
What the fuck does golf have to do with this, Virtue? What is happening?
Good. The acronym for golf is good old. How is the acronym for golf good old loving father, Dan? How in holy hell did the English language come together that the golf? How did that happen? Good old loving father is the acronym for golf.
I'm disappointed, Virtue. I'm disappointed. You're trolling me right now.
Come on, it might be.
This is a big old troll. Okay. Come on, dude. Come on, dude.
Hear hope. Hear my acronym for hope, at least.
Okay, what's your acronym for hope?
What's your acronym for hope?
Hope of peace eternally. And in every religion on this planet, and I've studied quite a bit, several many of them, there is a strong vein of hope of peace eternally in every single one of them.
Virtue, you've been so sincere to me up to this point. I feel betrayed. I cannot believe you are being serious right now. You are not being serious right now.
Wait, you're just saying that because I'm here to do is irrefutable proof and evidence.
It's not for Virtue.
That's all you can say. That's all you can say.
I'm not sure.
That's all you have to back up on.
I'm not sure how a game that was invented in Scotland in the late Middle Ages has anything to do with God, except for the acronym that you came up with.
Oh, Virtue.
That's the part that I'm kind of still
Virtue
up in the air about and lost.
I've given you what is it, 9 minutes of my time. And you have wasted it, good sir. Not really. It was pretty funny. But look.
No, it's not a waste of time. You can't refute the proof. You're not even trying to refute it. You're just saying I'm a troll. Everyone is watching your show right now. Is probably every Christian watching your show is like, this guy's not even trying to rebut.
What are we supposed to refute, though?
Give me a rebuttal. Give me a rebuttal.
Well, okay.
You know the mathematics. Can you prove what our English language is based on Latin? Right.
Well,
what if
actually the English language is based on German?
Okay, so listen, I got another one for you. Okay, here's my counter proof. Here, I have an acronym. There's ACA, Atheist Community of Austin. Now, how would you know
that
in
proves
the English
God isn't
language
real?
That proves God isn't real because.
Good going.
Yeah. See, we can play the game. We gotta fight back. Yeah. We can't let this guy dunk on us like this. He has the acronyms. Listen, Atheist Community of Austin, right? We designed the human language so that we would have a great acronym. It's got some symmetry to it. It's an A and then a C and then another A. You know, that's proof of human design.
There's also the acronym BAD.
Bad, yeah. What's bad?
For Big Atheist Deal.
Big Atheist Deal. We're bad. Yep, that's it. So there you go, Virtue.
Good. Yeah, that's weak, man. That's weak.
Well,
and you can't bring it.
Dude, that is no different than your golf.
Yeah.
I don't get where
I don't get it, dude.
Yeah, I don't see where you don't see where those two aren't the same.
I think this is pretty good.
You just made up you made up a bunch of words to go with another word, and then
that's what we did. So what's up?
The English language come together to create all these wonderful acronyms that point to a God's existence.
How did that English language come together to make the acronym BAD stand for atheism? I could say the same thing. I mean, Christians think we're bad, right?
You just asked a question. Give me time to answer it, sir.
Listen, I don't know. I can't take this anymore. Virtue, I gotta let you go. This is too silly, even for me. Okay, I'm done with this conversation. I'm done with this. Listen, I was excited. We had a good grounds. We were defining terms.
Yeah.
You said you wanted to present a belief. Acronyms, bro.
Dude, that just blew me away.
You're a believer now?
No, I mean, I was just that somebody would think that was some kind of proof.
No, come on, you're strolling, Kelly. You don't believe that. You don't. I refuse. I refuse to think anybody's being serious with it.
I don't know, because I've seen people believe
Kelly,
weirder things.
I've been on the internet. Okay?
Yeah, okay, you have.
I've been on the internet. I've seen some posts in my time. All right, that's a troll. That's a troll. It's got to be a troll. If you're not a troll, that's wild.
But people do believe some crazy stuff. People believe in a book called Urantia.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, listen. Virtue, thanks for the laugh. That was pretty funny. You know, for as far as trolls go, that was pretty funny. It made me laugh. So I'll give you props for that. But that I don't know what else to make of a conversation like that. Jesus Christ, what a show, Kelly! What a show we're having today. You never know what you get with this program, and that's one of the things I love about it. So real quickly, just want to get a couple more announcements, and then we'll keep going with the show. Okay, promise we'll keep going. But I already mentioned we are doing some live stuff next week. But hey, if you can't, or this weekend, we're doing some stuff in studio. But if you can't make it, but you still want to talk to us or get in touch, I mentioned I do make appearances on other people's shows and do stuff like that. You can contact all the hosts or anybody at the ACA. You can do it through TV at atheist-community.org. And that's where we get all inquiries on stuff. We're also looking for more volunteers for crew stuff right now. We're looking for people who can do video, audio, or call screening. So if you can attend live in person, that would be even better. So please email TV at atheist-community.org if you're in the Austin area, because we need some additional crew members to help out for shows like this one. Also, there is a Facebook group. It's run by fans for fans. You should check that out. It's tiny.cc/FBTWG. Interact with other folks who like this show and post about what's going on. Because, there's apparently a lot of stuff going on this program tonight. It's getting out of control. But I'm here. I'm handling it. and we're getting it taken care of. But one other thing, there is a website. It's atheist-community.org. Of course, if you want to check out any news, if you ever want to be sure that you're going to make it for a show that's in studio and stuff, we do have a calendar on there. And of course, any other upcoming events that we got going on, that's a good place to do it. So Kelley, I think we should
Silly Heathens on the Web.
Silly Heathens on the Web show. I like this new acronym game. It's like numerology, except somehow stupider. Like, it's not even like it's just, you can just do this with anything.
Yeah, right.
I wish I knew other languages so I could like kind of mix it up even more.
Yeah.
But this is just wild. Okay, so let's get to some other callers here. Okay, we got ooh, man, we got some cool ones. Man, well, I want to be able to talk to everybody, so if I haven't gotten to you yet, stay on the line. We'll talk to Marlon right now. Marlon, who is calling in from the Philippines.
Oh, Marlon.
Philippines. Marlon, you are live on Truth One.
I remember Marlon.
Hello, guys. How are you?
Doing good.
Hi, Marlon. Have you manifested any Mountain Dew lately?
Well, my food has been going well, and I am alive, so it's all good.
Good.
That's good. Marlon, I have here that you have personal experience with encountering spirits and the supernatural. Is that right?
Yes, and I want you guys to help me in a way, because as a believer, it makes me afraid. It doesn't help with my sleep, and I'm kind of having a hard time here. And just last week, me and my friends were hanging out over here for a sleepover, and
Are you not sleeping because of anxiety, or because the spirits themselves are keeping you awake?
I think it's because of the spirit.
Okay. I think you're about to tell us your experience with them.
Yes. With me and my friends were having dinner, and one of my buddies were crying because he was like, I see a woman in a bloody white dress behind you holding a baby. And I looked behind me, but she wasn't there. But she was so afraid. He's frozen solid. He's there. She's there. I can see it. And then about the night after that, when like waking up, about to take a sip for a glass of water, I saw the rocking chair right in front of that my dead grandma used to be on. She sits on that all the time before. It keeps rocking and rocking, just going and going. But there was no wind. The windows were closed. It was a closed tight space in the living room, and that makes me afraid, man. That makes me afraid.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know what to do. Since I was a kid, I felt being touched, winds going around me in closed spaces, hearing bangs, hearing footsteps, hearing tappings on the windows, bangings on the roof.
Right, so you've actually...
I need help, man.
Okay. Well, so first, just need to clarify, whenever we have calls like this, situations like this, just let you know, I'm not a licensed psychologist. I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm just a call-in show host, okay? So I can give you my perspective on this, okay? I'm not here to cure anxiety. I'm not here to cure depression. I'm not here to do anything like that. I'm just here to give a perspective. That's really all I'm here to do. The fact is, right, and from my point of view, when you have a belief like that, whether or not the truth of that belief corresponds to reality. In other words, whether or not there's actually ghosts or not, there is an underlying feeling of anxiety there, is what it sounds like to me, right? It sounds like that there is something that's bothering you, and that fear is keeping you up. So whether or not actually spirits are harming you, you're stressed out, right? You're clearly stressed out. I don't think you'd be calling me and telling me about this if you weren't. So I think the first thing you should do is find a way where you're not as stressed out. Whether that means hanging out with some friends for a little bit, staying somewhere else for a little bit, or finding a thing that can distract you from these thoughts. Because I can at least tell you from my experience, and probably Kelley's experience, if there are spirits out there, I don't think they're going to be able to harm you or hurt you in any meaningful capacity. If anything, you would do that harm for yourself, right?
Right.
So, like, but besides that point, like, the first thing I think you should do, again, my perspective, would be to just kind of calm down a little bit, because it sounds like this is really giving you anxiety, and we don't make our best decisions when we're stressed out. Right? We want to be able to make decisions that are best for ourselves and are as rational as possible, and we want to do it under the best circumstances, and that's not the best circumstances, right? So that's my point number one. I think, did you have something you want to share on that, Kelley?
Not so much. I was really curious about some of the manifestations of this, the white lady. Have you seen this spirit your whole life?
Well, yes, actually, I have tried to talk to it, call it out through a mirror or something, and it showed to me. I have on the mirror, and I have a photo of it on camera.
Marlon,
I have a photo of it.
Have other people in your family seen this spirit before you? Like did your parents experience the spirit before you did?
Right. Anybody else? Yeah.
They seen the picture in the mirror. She showed herself, but then when I looked behind me, she wasn't there. But I was able to capture it.
Okay.
In the mirror.
But is there anybody else in your life that can also like verify a story like that, or is it just you right now?
I was wondering
People
if maybe
in the church, in the Christian community.
People in your church area? Okay. Yeah.
The rocking chair in this incident.
Okay, yeah, the rocking chair one, that was with other people, right?
Right.
Okay.
I was wondering if you had been told about this spirit as a child before you actually saw the spirit.
Well, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I am not an expert on Philippine culture at all, okay? I am not. But my understanding is, there is a tradition, a pretty strong tradition in the Philippines of the supernatural, right? That the supernatural does exist and intervenes in life sometimes. Like, I mean, is that correct, Marlon? Like, I would imagine stories like that are not uncommon in your community.
Yes, like Halloween stories.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Folklore.
So here's an interesting thing about another community of people who also thought of superstitious things. If you're familiar with American Christian history, right, you may be familiar with a thing called the Salem witch trials. And actually, there's multiple witch trials. The Salem ones were the most famous, right? And what happened during the Salem witch trials was there were the accounts, multiple people attesting sometimes to events or things that could not have otherwise possibly happened with women in the community doing acts of magic or purporting to do acts of the supernatural in some way. And sometimes they didn't even witness them at all. Sometimes there was such a paranoia around some of these people that people would pretend like they saw them, even when they weren't even near at the time. This is hysteria, right? This isn't reflecting reality in any sort of way. We can demonstrate through the historical record that, not only that these women were innocent, but oftentimes that a lot of these stories were false accusations on a whole other level, whether it be personal grudges or something else. This was a time of a people who were so paranoid about the things around them that they began to see things that otherwise weren't there. So, like, that's a thing that can happen, right? And if I were to judge your story, if I were to hear it from somebody else, even outside of the feelings that you just described me, I think what I'm hearing is what sounds like hysteria. What I'm hearing is a community that already has a predisposed belief towards the supernatural, right, and will interpret their experiences through that cultural lens. So I think what's happening is you're getting these ideas in your head from your community and from the people around you, and that's literally informing what you see. And I think that's making you paranoid. I think that's kind of freaking you out a little bit.
Yeah, and there's a long history. There's a long history of sightings of the haunted white woman in the Philippines. This is a cultural phenomenon that's been going on for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, what do you think of that, Marlon?
I mean, it may be possible that I am stressed out. This is all in my head. I mean, I tend to have nightmares and night terrors, sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
When I'm tired, after a long day, it like my mind is messing with me.
Yeah. I think that's fair because, like, Marlon, when I was younger, right, in the Christian church, I was taught that other people around me were inviting the Holy Spirit, a literal spirit, into themselves. And occasionally, although I didn't grow up Pentecostal, I would hear stories from other people who were speaking in tongues, who were able to kind of do these sort of quote unquote miracles on each other in these very excited, short states, right? And now, as an atheist, guess what? I've lived for over 5 years now as an atheist, longer than that. I have not experienced any of that whatsoever. I haven't heard any friends talk about miracles. I haven't heard any because my community doesn't believe in those things, and so we the atheist community we're not really interpreting our experiences, the weird things that we find sometimes under that lens, and I'm not stressed out about it. Right? It used to be something that really stressed me out. This idea that demons could possess people and things like that.
Yeah.
Right? So. You had something you want to say there, I think.
Well, I was going to say that was, it goes the other way, too, that not only are there these manifestations of good things from when people are possessed by spirits, but there's also these manifestations of demon possessions that we really can't prove actually happened either, that just seem to be a cultural thing. So.
Yeah. So Marlon, like, again, it may sound like a harsh, and I don't want to be this person that's like, telling you what your experiences are, because I want you to feel valid in your anxiety. You are valid in your anxiety. You're obviously stressed out. But, you asked me what my thoughts are. You asked me what's going on. That's what I think is going on, right? I don't think there's good evidence for the supernatural. I don't think there's good evidence for the paranormal. I don't think that there's good evidence for the similar stories that people have told, like yourself, in other cultures of people, in these kind of in these altered states, right? I mean, I think first and foremost, you should take care of you. You should take care of your health. And if you can talk to somebody about this, I don't know what the Philippine healthcare system is like. I don't know if you have access to mental health care. But if you can talk to a therapist or somebody in your area, I think my perspective is that would be a good idea to do. Because, like, whether or not, again, let's say even if there are spirits or they're not spirits, you sound stressed out, my friend. You sound like you got a lot going on. And I think you got to take care of that first,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, I was wondering, what do you guys think of this connection of dogs praying with their owners before a meal, or these dogs and cats reacting to worship music? On YouTube, they say the Holy Spirit is within them or something.
Huh. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I haven't really seen a lot of that.
Dogs reacting to ghosts.
Okay, so I'll tell you this, right? Animals are weird and they do funny stuff all the time, right? Like, there could be nothing going on, and like my girlfriend's cat will just run around because they get the zoomies, like that happens. Dogs too, like, dogs will often mimic human behavior. So I imagine if somebody's praying and there's an air of solemnness in the air, like, dogs can kind of pick up on that.
Yeah,
like they can see dogs who are specifically trained to be emotional support dogs are literally trained to see when people are in distress and can try to help them out. So I think dogs have a sense of human emotions on some level. So it doesn't surprise me that a dog might be reacting to somebody praying. And if it's a ghost situation, again, like, animals freak out at just random stuff. They're even more hypersensitive than we are to the noises around us, because that's evolutionarily, that's how they survive. So it also means that they can pick up false positives, right? Like, have you ever thrown something at your dog and then they try to look around, but you actually didn't throw it? You just kind of pretended like you throw it, or you make some
with a laser.
Yeah.
A laser.
Yeah. You make some noise, and the dog may be distressed, or they freak out when the doorbell rings, because they can't they don't have the tools to give context to what they're hearing all the time. And maybe they just hear something in the air, and dogs can hear stuff that we can't. So, they might just hear stuff that's just there, but it doesn't mean it's supernatural, right? It doesn't mean it's something paranormal going on.
Or smell things too.
Yeah,
they
that's
smell
also
something
true.
out of the ordinary. They might act a little strange.
Yeah, so there you go, Marlon. I mean, what do you think about that?
I think it's fascinating to hear about this, and for you guys helping me, it's been really good for me.
Good.
Inside and outside.
Well,
I can just listen to our podcast,
Yeah.
when I go sleep, and turn the lights on, lights on for sleeping. It would do me good. Yeah.
Good. Well, if I want to be a source of stress relief for you. I don't want to cause you any anxiety, so I'm glad we can do that. Marlon, we do have to let you go because we got some other folks that want to talk to us.
Guys, thank you.
Bye-bye. Chill out. Go buy some winning lottery tickets.
Yeah, go. Do whatever makes you happy, right? Like, that's what an interesting call.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, I thought it was interesting. Marlon has been called in before. He's called in AXP.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I thought it was interesting how he kind of changed his tact a little bit. He wasn't making some of the crazy claims of his own abilities.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the first time he's called into this program. But yeah, that was my first time getting to talk with him.
Yeah.
But again, I'm harping on this a third time. If the spirits are real or not, you still need to take care of yourself.
Yeah, right.
He sounded distressed.
He did. He really did, and he needs to resolve that.
Yeah,
definitely.
100%. So I think we're gonna go ahead and keep going. I want to take this next one real quick because it looks like we got Red from Texas, and Red says that she wants to correct me on some stuff I said on the Salem witch trials, and I'm happy to be corrected on stuff. I don't want to give misinformation. So Red, you're live on Truth Wanted. What do you got?
Hey, nice to hear from you guys and be able to talk again. It's been a while.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks again for calling in. So I'm not, I'll be honest, I'm the first to admit I'm not an expert on Salem witch trials. So if you have information that you want to share with us, I'd be happy to hear it.
Oh, yeah. That a lot of the Salem witch trials, it has a lot of misconceptions and myths around it. So it goes around a lot. It's something that I've been studying, not really like professionally as a historical person, but I want to talk about it professionally to help people better understand it. But I guess one of the biggest myths that are around the Salem witch trials is that it was all women, and that is something that is incorrect. There were men. One case of a man was actually the only case to be crushed to death.
Press, yeah.
To be sent, yeah. He
Really?
was crushed to death
he was
for
pressed,
not making a plea.
Wow, I didn't know that. I sincerely thought it was all women. I did not know that there were men that were also accused of that. That's new information for me. Wow.
As I recall, he was an older gentleman too, was he not? Like in his 70s or something.
That's another thing. A lot of I don't want to say a majority because I'm not quite sure if that's true. I have to check my facts on that.
Sure.
But a lot of these witches were typically older people, but you can't really use age as to say, older people were accused of witchcraft or something like that, because the youngest to be accused in the Salem witch trials was 4 years old, and she was sent to jail and was in shackles in a jail cell for a very, very, very long time.
Did you say 12 years old?
4 years old.
4 years old. Oh my God.
4 years old. Yes.
What is a 4-year-old doing to you that you have to put him in shackles? What?
They're cursing you.
What?
Yeah.
Man, oh my
And don't you know shackles prevent people from
shackles
cursing?
prevent people from cursing. Of
Yes.
course. I mean, obviously. Yeah. I'm not questioning that. I'm just, that's wild. Man, okay. So, all right, I'm learning some new things. Thank you for telling me that, Rip. Was there other stuff I got wrong there? Because I definitely thought it was just women. I did not know there were men involved.
Yeah, no, there were men. I don't remember exactly how many men, but in total, 20 deaths were were accounted for due to just the Salem witch trials. I don't know about the other trials yet. I haven't gotten that far into my studies.
Okay.
I think, and I might be wrong on this, but I think there were 14 in the Connecticut witch trials.
14 women?
14 people. Men and women.
Wow. Okay.
I do believe, I do remember hearing about a number that I don't want to say for sure because I don't know, but I've mostly been focusing on the Salem witch trials since that's been my main focus of study at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the men that was hanged was actually a pastor who used to be the pastor to the parish of the Salem town, Salem village. And I guess he had a servant there who was living with a new family, and she accused him of witchcraft. And he was living in Maine at the time. And they actually sent people up to Maine, and they dragged him from his house while they were having dinner and dragged him all the way down to Salem to have him tried and then hanged.
Oh, my God.
So nobody...
I'll tell you this.
Nobody was safe.
Red, I'll tell you this. Every time I hear about the Salem witch trials or any witch trials, I hear a new fact about it, I never think, wow, these people were more enlightened than I thought they were. You know what I mean? It's always worse. Like, it's never better. That's just wild.
Oh, no, it is. There could be many, many things I could be talking to you about.
Yeah.
I'll talk to Gerald about it because this is my topic. But I don't want to do that. But yeah, the deeper you dive into it, the more fucked up it kind of gets.
I believe,
to say the least.
I believe that. Yeah,
it's true. That really is true.
Also, another small fact that the majority of the accusers were also younger children, mostly girls. The two that started off the accusations came from the same household. They were cousins.
Jesus.
And one of them, it was the daughter and niece of the pastor of the time in Salem village. I say Salem village and town because they're actually two different places. There's Salem town, which is now known as Salem, Massachusetts today. And Salem village is actually known as Danvers today. So they actually had two different places.
Wow.
And the accusations took place in village, and they were all tried and hanged in Salem town.
Man, that's...
So yeah, there's a lot you can go into about it. I'm trying to rein myself in a bit.
No, that's fine. As I recall, wasn't that the servant woman, wasn't she Caribbean? Her name was Hecuba?
I don't remember if she's Caribbean. I think that might have been another myth. I think she was...
I thought she might have been Haitian or Dominican.
Yeah.
I know she came from an island, but I don't think it was Caribbean. I'll have to check my facts on that.
Yeah.
Here's a call. But yeah, she was one of the accused and then turned accuser because she confessed to witchcraft. Basically, if you confess to witchcraft, you weren't hanged. But if you did not confess to it, you were hanged.
Jesus. I mean, I have heard, this is a side point, but I have heard Christian apologists say, like, yes, like witchcraft is real. And by real, I mean in the sense that people can manipulate the world through systems of magic. And that's something that you have to look out for. And when I hear that, I'm just like, really? Like, that's what you're worried about? Like, listen, the witches that are on TikTok and stuff right now, like they just like, I think they just like the vibe, most of them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I know there's like actively ones casting spells and stuff. And by the way, if you're a witch and you listen to the show, you're radical, you're cool. But like, I'm just saying, like I don't think I think a lot of them just like the vibes. The fact that people honestly and genuinely think, yes, these people can produce magic, one, and that they are a threat to our community, like that, oh man, it's just so wild. So wild. But hey, Red, thanks so much for sharing some of that info and letting me know about some facts that I didn't know about. That's some new info. I'm going to go ahead and let you go now, but thanks so much again for calling into the show, and I hope you get to call in again at a different time. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Red.
Yeah. That was really good. I wanted to let Red go because Call In Studios is going to let me there we go. And then we have like time for one more caller, I think. So
cool. Let's do it.
We're going to talk to, it's either Jess or Jesse calling in from New Jersey. Please let me know which one. You're live on Truth Wanted. What's up?
Hey, it's Jesse. How you doing, guys?
Jesse from New Jersey. What's up?
Just wanted to offer a different perspective on the angry atheist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Most angry atheists are angry because they think that theists are stupid, and I've gotten beyond that point. Really, I think, I'm angry because I think atheists are being discriminated against because we don't believe in what other people believe in without evidentiary support.
Yeah.
And it's like we're being thought of as a bad person for that.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to hear your guys' input on that.
I do agree. There is a negative connotations that come with the word atheist, right? And in a recent Gallup poll, they had asked people if they would vote for like 20 different classes of people, and atheists came out at the bottom of the ladder. That was the least amount of people would vote for an atheist. People would vote for a Muslim over an atheist in the United States, and I found that really interesting.
Yes.
But yeah, there is definitely some negative connotations that are attached with the word atheist.
Yeah. So you said two things. One on which I agree with, one which I disagree with. The one that I agree with is the same thing Kelly agrees with, which is the fact that yes, atheists are discriminated against. That is apparent. Obviously, we don't have the same. I don't turn this into we suffer more than any other group. Okay, that's not my interest.
No.
But we do. But like if you look at you talked about the Gallup poll, Pew Research statistics also have this idea of a warmness scale, and then what they do is they interview different religious groups and they ask them how warmly do they feel towards that group. And in the United States, Muslims and atheists are about the same.
Is that right?
They're the lowest ones that they've surveyed whenever they do this. And of course, they include Jewish people, Christians, Mormons, things like that, right? So like every time they've done this, like atheists and Muslims are kind of on that same level. Now, think about what the average American thinks about Muslims in this country and basically apply that to atheists and like you get your idea, right? So there is something there to that. Absolutely. But you also said this. You said atheists are angry because theists are stupid. Now, okay, there are definitely atheists out there that are angry because they have a perceived, a measure of someone's intelligence and have judged them to be stupid. Okay, I will give you that. That is not why I was an angry atheist, though. The reason why I was an angry atheist, and I think a lot of people who deconstruct go through this phase, was I was mad that I was lied to. I was mad that I was a part of this system that got me to believe in stupid things, right? I was mad that I was a part of, I contributed to people's oppression. I did, just by being a part of that system. I talked about this earlier in the show. I wasn't actively protesting on the streets. I wasn't helping trying to pass any laws that discriminate against people. But just by being a part of that system, I upheld it as legitimate. I really did. And I wasn't listening.
Okay.
I never listened to the perspectives of non-Christian people. I didn't listen to the perspectives of the LGBT community. I didn't listen to these other perspectives because I was in my own bubble. And that bubble was Christianity in my church. It wasn't encouraged.
Okay.
So that's...
Okay, I apologize.
You don't have to apologize. No apologizing. You asked for my perspective, and this is what I give, right?
I think a lot of angry atheists happen because they are experiencing religious trauma too. They've had,
definitely. Definitely.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. That's been in my experience talking to a lot of atheists on the atheist community of Discord.
Yeah.
That seems to be where a lot of the anger comes from, is that these people feel like they have been traumatized by the religion that they've been brought up in. 100%. And usually it's some of those harder core religions, the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Mormons.
Yeah.
But you're right. There is a lot of angry atheism out there, and I think it would behoove us as a community to try to kill as much of that anger as possible.
I agree,
because it does shed a negative light on atheism, and I think we wanted to put out a more positive connotations towards who we are.
Yeah.
Right? We're supposedly 26% of Americans right now. 26% of Americans associate as
non-religious.
Non-religious.
Doesn't mean they're atheists, but
you're
yeah.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
But we only have 2 people in Congress that are representing us.
Yeah.
When we're 26% of the population. So we have a lot of headway to get people to understand that we are just like them too.
That's right. That's right. And another thing, Jesse.
A lot higher than I thought.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Again, that's including non-religious populations because it's actually really hard to survey who's actually an atheist or not because there's different surveys have found different results depending on how they word some of their questions. So that's a separate topic. But one other thing I wanted to add, Jesse, I just wanted to also add to the reasons, to the reason why I have my reasons. And this is because my story is pretty public. I have a video of myself as a Christian talking to Anthony Magnabosco, who is a street epistemologist. Yeah. And I read those comments. Okay, I've read those comments when I was a Christian. A lot of people said I was stupid. A lot of people, they did. They just said I was dumb. They said my arguments were dumb. And it's one thing to say that my arguments are dumb, but a lot of people just said I was dumb, right? And that did not make me feel good, one. But 2, that didn't give me a good impression of the atheist community. In fact, if anything, it reinforced the stereotype I saw is that atheists are just nasty, angry people, right? And that is a stereotype. And look, it exists for a reason sometimes, okay? I've been in this community long enough to say that it exists for a reason. I see it on Twitter, okay? I see it. I don't want that. I would rather try to transform this into a place where people can find healing for their religious trauma. I would like to transform this into a place where people can find a common ground with other folks, find a life path forward after deconstructing from a religion. I want this to be a positive space. Like, I want this to be a place where people can feel comfortable in these conversations, including folks who are religious, by the way, because I was there and I know what that's like, and I know what it's like when somebody calls you stupid for the beliefs that you have. It's not helpful. It really isn't. It didn't launch my way forward into where I am now. So you know that's why we try to have the attitudes that we do.
Mentally ill too.
Yeah, mentally ill as well.
That's another one.
Obviously,
we have to stop saying Christians are mentally ill.
Yeah. So anyway, I have very strong thoughts about this, Jesse. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I've just stopped going on any of the atheist rooms in like Facebook just because the atheists have that really negative, like angry atheist attitude about them, and it's just sort of like I've just gotten so tired of it. I'm just like, oh Christ, hanging out with like babies there. You know, just disassociated myself from that.
Atheist Facebook is a real cesspool.
It
I'll
can
agree.
be. Not our Facebook groups. Not our fan groups. Our
the
fan
ACA
groups
ones are awesome.
Perfect. They're great. But like, and let me put a pin on this too, in saying that I'm not saying that their anger oftentimes isn't justified. I'm not even saying I do think not every time. Okay, not every time. Some people are petty, but sometimes it is coming from a legitimate place of I was harmed, right? And I feel angry about this.
Oh yeah.
The problem with people is that being angry isn't enough. It's not enough to convince somebody. So the fact that you have a passion about it doesn't make it any more true, even if it is true. People see that. People take into that. The vegan community has this problem. Pretty much any activist community has this problem, right? Where it's like the most passionate and blunt ones are the ones that are highlighted. And sometimes that gets seen as a voice. And for better or worse, even if you're right, doesn't mean that you're convincing. Right, so something to think about when we have these conversations. But
I just got.
Go ahead.
I just I got past that.
Yeah,
it's just good. Like, well, I just thought about it. I'm like, well, I have to get past.
That's good.
It's just like you have to get over it.
Good. Yeah.
There you go. It's like something you have to get through.
It is something you have to get through. And like anger sometimes fuels a passion for me in activism. I'm angry at the things that people face, I
got angry at myself.
Yeah?
Yeah, when we were talking earlier about how I had indoctrinated myself, and when I came out of that, I was angry at myself for having been that, and I hate to say it, stupid, that I actually rationalized these beliefs to be real.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And like again, anger can be valid. I just don't want it to be misplaced. If we're going to be represented in the world, I want it to be for the conversations that we try to have here. I don't want it to be because of we called some Christian stupid because you know, that they had some wacky. I mean, yeah, okay. Look, people have wacky ideas. We'll talk about the wacky ideas, but the people, I want to try to give as much leverage as I can for the people, right? Because I mean, I know that feeling. I know that's where I was at personally. But anyway, Jesse, we are going to start wrapping up the show here, so I am going to let you go. But thank you so much for calling in and giving your perspective.
I just want to say one more thing.
Really quickly, Jesse, you got like 20 seconds.
Okay. Kelley, I've got a lot of respect for you coming all the way down from Michigan just to be on this.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. No problem. And that's all I want to say.
And Jesse, come and check us out at the ACD. You'll find that the atheists there are a lot nicer. So
sometimes.
Well, usually.
Sometimes.
We have good moderators.
There's
to keep
moderators
everybody
on
in
there,
line.
so you know that's what that's for. So anyway, Jesse, thanks again for calling in. And this has been a great episode of Truth Wanted.
It has.
Kelley, thanks so much for
thank
being
you for
here.
having me. I had a blast. This was great.
So glad you got to be here today.
I am too, man. I am ecstatic beyond belief.
I'm just very happy. Kelley's been helping out for a little while now. And Kelley, we got a promo image that we're going to put on the screen for you. But where can people find you at if they want to know where you're at?
You can find me on the nonprofits. I'm there all the time. I just accepted a position as a host on Skeptic Hangout with Richard Gilliver, Laura McGee, and Josh Entner. So you'll start seeing me there. And you can catch me on the Atheist Community at Discord, where I'm a moderator and I host Meet the ACA every Tuesday.
Great. And of course, you are also a backup host on Truth Wanted.
And
so you may be back here.
Yeah, you may see me here.
Under unintended circumstances sometimes, but welcome ones nonetheless, as long as you're there, right? So
cool.
Anyway, we also have to thank the wonderful, fantastic, amazing, stupendous crew that helps make this show happen every single week. Let's go to that crew cam and show who is helping out. There we go. We got the in-studio crew and, of course, the crew cat doing the most important job, obviously, being a cat. I mean, come on.
He's supervising.
And, of course, the folks that are helping online as well that weren't appearing on the camera. Thank you guys so much for that. Again, I'm going to reiterate, in case you forgot, because I didn't, we want to try to read out your answers for our kind of question of the week is what we're doing. So the question this week, please answer in the comment section below in one sentence. What is the weirdest conspiracy theory you have ever heard? And we will pick our favorite 3 responses and we'll read them next week.
I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, I want to see what you guys,
really
because I've seen a lot of weird shit. Okay, I'll be honest, it takes a lot to impress me. So show me what you got. But for now, that is going to be it for tonight. I am your host, Objectively Dan, and as always, remember to always keep wanting the truth, Austin. We'll see you next time.
Bye, Colin.
Watch The Non-Prophets and join the hosts in the live chat, Sundays at 3 p.m. Central, between The Atheist Experience and Talk Hidden. Visit tiny.cc/YTNP.